It's Wednesday, April 28th, and today we're going to talk about podcast subscriptions. You're listening to Fight Knows About Everything, a Night Shift Radio original. For more information, visit nightshiftradio.com. Hello everyone, I'm Michael Fight. Thank you for joining me on Fight Knows About Everything. Today we're going to talk a little bit about podcast subscriptions and the new subscription services offered by both Apple and Spotify. Before we do that, hey, while you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, don't forget to subscribe or leave a rating and review. The rating and review part is the really, really helpful part. I would super appreciate that. But yeah, so go ahead and leave a rating and review. And for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever brand new videos are posted up on this site. So not only do I have 3 episodes a week, but the Never Heard of It podcast posts 2 episodes a week. And this will be the site, the YouTube page, where our animated series Show 17 for Humans will be debuting later this summer. That is unless somebody buys it, just saying. But anyway, so I really appreciate that. Of course, definitely check that out. And we got a lot going on at the Night Shift Media Group, which is the parent company that runs all of our shows. If you want to learn more about that, definitely check out our mailing list, which is linked down below in the show notes, as well as in the YouTube description. So that being said, let's jump into it. So recently, Apple, outside of announcing a bunch of other things, including releasing their brand new update for iOS 14.5, has also announced that there will be an Apple podcast subscription service. So the way the podcast subscription service works is going to be very similar to like a Patreon or like a bonus episode. So the way it works is that podcasters will basically be able to activate a subscription model to which their subscribers can get pay a specific fee and get special access to things, whether it's ad-free, whether it's bonus content or whatever it is. Podcast Apple will allow you to basically have this listed in your Apple Podcast feed. Now, the way this works, though, is that you pay $20 a year. The podcaster pays $20 a year to Apple to basically allow access to the service, and then Apple will take anywhere between 15 to 30% of your revenue. So if you make $100, they will take anywhere between $15 to $30 of that revenue throughout each month. So that's one service. Now, Spotify just yesterday announced that they will also be doing a subscription model-based service, which as of right now is only available in the US and is only available to select users of their Anchor platform. Anchor.fm is a podcasting platform that is owned by Spotify. They were purchased by Spotify last year. 2 years ago? Last year. 2 years ago. And it basically is a way for you to record and distribute a podcast through that. So one of my podcasts, the Never Heard of It podcast, actually started on Anchor, and it's a great service for people who are casual podcast users. They want to start off, but they just kind of want to start one podcast and just be really casual about it. It's really great. Not only do they they distribute you everywhere for free, but they have a lot of cool options in recording. Now, there are several limitations to Anchor. One, Spotify owns your content, so there is many instances in which if your content does not mesh with either their terms of service or if you violate any sort of things like copyrighted music, they're very big about pulling copyrighted music. They can just delete your podcast and it's completely gone. Now, this is true of a lot of the hosting services, but Spotify seems to be the one that's a little more strict on that. But do I still recommend Anchor? Absolutely. If you are just starting out and you want to just have a very fun, casual podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Other than that, for as an example, Night Shift Media Group uses Captivate. It's great. We can host all of our shows under one platform. I'm able to see all of the analytics of all of our shows and monitor all of that and post and manage everything all under one show. So we recommend Captivate. That being said, so the Spotify service allows the podcasters to offer 3 monthly pricing options to choose from, either $2.99, $4.99, or $7.99. So now, right now, Spotify will only begin by taking a 5% cut of the total subscription revenue. However, right now it's free. Basically, the only thing you have to cover is the transaction fees. That 5% will actually start in the year 2023. They'll start taking 5% of all of your of basically all of your total revenue. Same thing, Spotify allows you to do whatever you want of the 3 tiers. You can kind of decide what you want, whether it's ad free, whether it's bonus stuff, whether it's, more direct content. Spotify allows you to do this. Now, I do want to preface at this time, Night Shift Media Group has no plans to use either Apple or Spotify's subscription service. We do, in fact, have a Patreon, and that is where all of our bonus content and early release episodes go. For those interested, it is also linked down below. Now, there are a lot of advantages to this. So one of the things that I pointed out for Night Shift Media Group is that the majority of our listens come from Apple Podcasts. More than 25% of any one of our shows, if you pick any one of our shows, it is roughly 25% or higher of our total listens comes from Apple Podcasts. And that is, the highest percentage of all of the different services that we're on. We're on pretty much all of them. Whereas Spotify accounts for less than 5% for even our most popular show. So Spotify... having that Spotify thing, I could see would be great for people that have been pushed to Spotify, or Spotify partners, or Spotify exclusive shows, or people that are seeing a large amount, a spike on Spotify, which some shows do based on the content. It kind of varies based on how you do it. Again, Apple is where the majority of our people are at. For those of you listening, odds are you are listening right now on Apple Podcasts. I see the analytics. This is the case. The majority of people listen on Apple Podcasts to this show. That is not to say that the people are listening on any other platform are less important. I'm just saying by sheer size. This is just the numbers, the data. Now, would it make sense for us to use Apple Podcasts and create a subscription service through there? Not at the moment. I mean, our Patreon is doing fine. I mean, the Patreon is where we're pushing everything for all of our shows. And Patreon for us gives us the opportunity to reach out to people who want bonus content that are not using Apple Podcasts. So the podcast subscriptions wars have begun. Now, is this going to get crazier? Are other companies and services going to jump in and try to do the same? Of course they are. Stitcher is an example that's probably going to jump in and do this. iHeartMedia, I guarantee, is going to have something. iHeartRadio is going to have something that's going to fall along those lines, because they're going to try to get podcasters. Podcasting is one of the largest forms of media right now, and it is one of the largest revenue drivers in the media world, outside of things like, TV and stuff like that. Like, podcasting is huge. Billions of people listen to podcasts all the time, and lots of people buy products because they are recommended from a podcast. So it's only going to get crazier from here. We'll see what it looks like in the future. But as I mentioned, as of right now, Night Shift Media has no intentions of swapping over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify podcast subscription service as of right now. Will that change? Maybe. We'll see what happens. But right now, Patreon is where we're at for all of our bonus content, but we'll see how it grows in the future. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone. I super appreciate it. This has been an info dump episode, just about this Apple podcast, or this podcast subscription thing that was just announced. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Let me know what you think about these subscription services. Would you rather subscribe to a Spotify or an Apple podcast if it meant you just had easy access to getting bonus content and shows right in your normal app? Or are you okay with going to a Patreon and downloading a special RSS feed or a special episode and listening? Let me know what is easier for you. We would love to know. Of course, you're welcome to comment right here on YouTube. But for those of you listening on your podcast player of choice, you can message me on Twitter at @TheMichaelFight. It is linked down below. And if it isn't, you can go right to the Night Shift Media site and see it, which is in fact linked down below. But check me out on Twitter at @TheMichaelFight, and let's talk about it. I'd love to hear what you think as a podcast listener, or if you yourself are a podcaster. What do you think? What do you think would be the advantage and disadvantages of using the Apple Podcast service versus the Spotify service? I definitely want to know, because we're, in our company, we're still talking it over, and we have yet to find an advantage for either. So thanks a lot for joining me, everyone. And of course, for more information, visit nightshiftradio.com. We appreciate it. And we will see you on Friday for our weekly recap.